What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to piss a lot of people off. No, not actually. I really don't have a controversial opinion to share, but I do have an unpopular opinion to share about the Halo community. And before I get into that, I think it's important that I start by saying that I turned 26 years old in 2 months. Now, that's important for one reason. I've been playing Halo since the beginning. I remember when Combat Evolved came out. I remember when it was all the rage. I remember trying to convince my mom to let me go over to my friend's house so I could play it. I've been around since the very beginning. I'm not somebody who just got into the game around Halo 4 or Halo 5 or Halo Reach, or any of the often associated accusations that come with me, somebody who's a fan of Halo 5's movement or just Halo 5 in general. Now, the reason I'm really into Halo 5 is because I started creating content just before Halo 5 on this channel, and I really wanted to give it my all. When Halo 5 came out, my channel grew a lot, and I did enjoy the game, and I always have. It may not be exactly what the classic Halo experience is, but it's still something that I find very fun. And being that, as a content creator, it was very beneficial for me, and ultimately a lot of people enjoyed my content, it was very easy for me to stay around in the game. Not to mention that I had an interest in competing and traveling to tournaments, and for the first 3 years, even through the fourth year, there were LAN tournaments for Halo 5, but for the first 3 years, there were a lot of big 4v4 tournaments, and a lot of, prize money up for grabs, a lot of different locations, a lot of events, a lot of things happening. It was a very happening place to be, Halo 5 for the first 3 years. So me sticking around there was for that reason exactly. But I think it's very important to say that Halo has always been my favorite game. Halo has always been the game that I've enjoyed the most, always been my favorite FPS, always been the game I've been grinding through Halo 1 all the way up until now. I didn't get to grind Halo 1 and 2 so much because I could only play those at friends' houses, but when I was 13, I was able to save up enough money to buy my own 360, get my own copy of Halo 3, and since then, I've been completely nonstop. But even before I had my own Xbox, I was still striving to try to go play at my friend's house. Now, all that is important for one big reason. I am not somebody who blindly believes that advanced movement is the better way for Halo. I can't stress enough that I don't think advanced movement is the better way for Halo. I was there when Halo was the biggest game in the world. I was there when everybody played Halo. I remember what that was like. And I would love to see that come back, albeit I don't think that we'll ever have that experience again. I think the gaming industry's changed too much as a whole for that to happen, but we could see a big resurgence in popularity in Halo with the release of Infinite, assuming it's popular amongst the entire Halo community. Here's where my unpopular opinion comes in. There's nothing more frustrating to me than when classic Halo fans, passionate classic Halo fans, believe that modern Halo fans are not Halo fans. There's a very common argument people like to make that new Halo games aren't Halo games and only the original 3 are technically Halo games. I find that to be very ignorant. I get what they're trying to say, but personally, if you ask me, somebody who just got into Halo yesterday, if their first experience was Halo 5, if they thought to themselves, that's the most fun game I've ever played in my life, Halo's my new favorite game, they're just as much of a Halo fan as anybody else. Halo is about, it shouldn't be a pissing contest between its fans. The Halo community used to be on top. Back in Halo 3, we saw Halo pop off like never before. Everybody was playing that game. That was exactly like it was when Fortnite first popped off. I mean, Fortnite probably had more people overall. Gaming was bigger overall, but it's also Fortnite was more accessible and free to play. But let's just compare it to that. Most people were playing Halo 3. It's slowly declined since then. We've seen, for many reasons, the release of Reach, the release of Halo 4, the release of other games that took people away from Halo. Poor Halo titles or weaker Halo title releases doesn't necessarily exclusively contribute to the population drops. That can largely come from people getting interested in other games, or people moving on with their life, or people just not having time for it anymore. You never really know exactly what it is, but I'll tell you one thing. The Halo community has continued to dwindle since then. It's gotten smaller and smaller and smaller. And there have been people like myself who have stuck with it the entire time. Now, when Reach came out, it was shocking and it was different, but I wanted to stick with it because I was interested in just staying with what was the current Halo title. I wanted to stay with the present title because I always had a small dream of wanting to go compete at tournaments, and eventually I was able to do that in Halo 5, but I wanted to stay with the current game. The same thing happened with Halo 4. I didn't like Halo 4. I really didn't like Reach that much when it launched. I ended up growing to like Reach as my experiences played. Just throughout the years, I ended up finding a love for it. But Halo 4, I really didn't enjoy it too much, but I was still grinding it because I was planning on going to tournaments. I was still playing these games. The population slowly dwindled, and here we are now. With Halo 5, a lot of people came back, and now there's, it's split between MCC and Halo 5 and Halo Reach on PC, and a lot of people in the Halo community are playing different Halos because all of them at this point have been remastered and are accessible for everybody to play. So if you're a diehard CE fan, you can exclusively play CE right now. You can go on MCC and only play that. It's not the richest matchmaking experience, but the point is, there are a lot of Halo fans who truly like CE and are only going to play CE. My problem is to think that all Halo fans aren't all Halo fans. I'm gonna run you guys a hypothetical. Let's say you went to a brand new school and you don't know anybody there. And for whatever reason, now this would probably never happen, but let's just say, for whatever reason, everybody was wearing a name tag, and they wrote their name, and right beneath their name, they wrote their favorite game or gaming franchise, whatever it is. So I'm gonna write Cole is my name, and Halo is my favorite game. Let's say there's 500 students in the school, and only one other person has another tag that says Halo on it. So I'm gonna go up and talk to that person and say, hey man, Halo's my favorite game too. What's your favorite Halo? And if, Halo 4, my least favorite Halo, I think a lot of people can agree on that. But let's just hypothetically say that person said, my favorite Halo is Halo 4. Think of your reaction if you were to look them in the face and be like, you're not a Halo fan. I don't want to be friends with you because you don't like the same Halo that I like. It seems ridiculous. And I think it is ridiculous. My point to say is the Halo community at this point is so much smaller than it used to be, and currently there are only so many of us left who passionately still love the game. Players like myself who never left, players who came back a couple years ago with the release of MCC. It doesn't matter, there aren't that many of us right now. In Infinite we have hopes that the game can pop off and maybe grow the community, maybe bring back a lot of players that we think, well, we could have a bigger player base, we could have more people playing this game, but we need to approach the attitude of Halo fans being Halo fans and try to be less divisive within our own community. There's so few of us left, we don't have time to handpick and choose who we want to be friends with just because they might not like the same game as you. There's so much hostility between which game's the better game or the worst game. I think overall we should be thankful that there are Halo fans still out there. There are still people that like this franchise. Regardless if it's the newer titles or the older titles, we all have common ground in knowing that we still all like Halo. We still all prefer to play Halo versus Call of Duty. There's a weird, still passionate Call of Duty feud from a lot of classic Halo fans. Back in the day, that used to be the big debate. It used to be Call of Duty versus Halo. And as a result, a lot of passionate Halo fans firmly believed that Call of Duty was just trash and skillless, and there's no place for COD. You're a Halo fan or you're a COD fan. There's no in between. There's a lot of people that played both, myself included. Look, man, to be honest, you were smart if you played both because you could realize that there's no real reason to argue about it. You could just enjoy both franchises for what they are. But there are people that still believe COD's completely skillless and you're an idiot and automatically stupid if you like COD. So why don't you just be thankful that there are people that like Halo instead of COD? That person who loves Halo 4 could have been playing COD. That person who loves Halo Reach could have been playing some other game. But instead, they're still in our franchise, they're still playing Halo with us. Now, I get a lot of you guys might say the problem is that it makes it hard to define exactly what type of Halo we want, but we're working towards finding that hybrid. I think 343 understands that they've now put themselves in a situation to where there's a big community that have enjoyed the more recent titles, the newer titles with the advanced movement. There's also a community that enjoys the classic feel, and they'll never be interested unless it's classic. I think they know that. I think they're going to be responsible with it, but personally, I just feel there should be less divisiveness within the Halo community. I think that we should be thankful and grateful that there are as many people as there are passionately into the game, especially the people that have been around the entire time, that truly just want to see the game succeed, myself included. I really just want to see Halo back to where it could be. I mean, I don't think it's going to be the biggest game ever again, but I like to think of things like the Smash community or even Call of Duty. At this point, it's so established that it'll always be its own game. It'll always have its own community. It may not be on top, it may not be the biggest in the world, but there's always going to be a strong player base of people that truly have passion for the franchise. And I think that Halo has that capacity, and I think that a little bit more unity out of Halo fans could help encourage that. We should all be thankful that we all like the same franchise, and in this case, I think the best arena shooter franchise of all time. I think a lot of you guys would agree. So it's okay if you like CE more than Halo 5. It's okay if you like Halo 3 more than Halo 2. What's more important to me is that we're all Halo fans. We should respect each other for what it is. Ultimately, what we truly enjoy is our fun matchmaking experiences, our fun campaign experiences, our fun times with friends. All of our memories are probably really similar, just on different titles. So let's try to be more patient with each other, guys. Let's try to, be less divisive. Let's try to like show each other love. There's so few of us left. We don't have time to argue between each other. That's my thought. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys like this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. And let me know what else you guys would like me to talk about. I'll be back later. See you guys.